afternoon, everybody. Welcome in. I invite you to find yourself planted in this space, physically and mentally. Whatever that means to you, get yourself in a comfortable position to be able to listen. Take a deep breath in on your own time. Let that out on your own time. And get yourself into this space. Good afternoon. My name is Brewster McGinley. I use he and pronouns. I am coming to this work today as a facilitator and teaching artist with a background in theater administration and production, and really excited about what we've planned for you, which we're going to tell you about in a moment. But first, let me introduce you to Emily.
Hi everyone, Emily Brewster here, she, her pronouns. I am a teaching artist. I work at a variety of cultural institutions, and I'm a deviser, and specifically a lot of my work is in accessibility.
I'm Naomi, I use she, her pronouns. I work at the Elevator School. I teach pre-K for 8th grade, and I've had the immense joy of working with both of these humans, but today we're going to be talking about a project that Emily and I worked on last year. So this session is called Devising through Play. And it's not that that's not what we're talking about, but it's also
But now that we have you here,
Yeah.
you're trapped.
Exactly. Creating sensory theater that is accessible and experiential for audiences of all kinds, with audiences of all kinds. And so that's the project that we're going to be sharing. Sorry it's Devising through Play. Hope you're not disappointed. Hope it will still be fruitful for you all. I think it will.
Your case study does do that thing.
Sure.
It's just the methods with which it's being done is not necessarily what we were forefronting in the. Anyway, there was an administrative, clerical sort of situation that got us to here.
Yeah.
But you are in a session where our essential question is, how can DOE teachers use sensory theater ingredients to create works with students? The play can be the work that you are going to create from, but you're in a space that's about devising and using sensory theater ingredients towards that devising. If that's not your bag, we're not offended if you leave. It's a whole different thing. But we have our agenda here up on the board. It is a pretty full session where we're going to have you jump in to participate and do things with us. And then we are going to end with some takeaways and resources so that you can do this with your population. In the middle, we're also, in addition to playing, going to show you some examples of this work in action that both Naomi and Emily created. So, with all of that said, let's take one more deep breath in. Let it out on your own time. And I'll toss it to Emily, who's going to lead us in our warm-up activity.
Fantastic. Hi everyone. So we are going to warm ourselves up, warm up our imaginations and our sensory systems first with a little bit of a game that was the basis for a big part of Naomi and I's residency at Ella Baker. And we're just gonna look at an everyday object, a tissue. So we're gonna come around, we invite you just to take a tissue, and for about 5 minutes, I'm going to invite you to sensorily engage with this tissue. What does it feel like? What does it look like? If it has a smell, what is it? If it doesn't have a smell, what do you wish the smell was? Or what might be a smell that this tissue would be around? We'll take just about a minute, and then the other 4 minutes will be spent otherwise. You may, of course, stay seated, or if you want to move about the space with your tissue, or find another cozy spot in the room, sitting on the ground, whatever is comfortable in your body, we're just going to explore what this tissue can do for us for about a minute. Does our tissue make any sound? Or does the tissue make us want to make a sound? Can you engage with the tissue to create a moment of balance or dysregulation? If you find yourself destroying your tissue, that is a-okay. We have plenty of extras. You can come on up and grab another one. Take about 30 more seconds just to introduce yourself to your tissue and have your tissue introduce itself to you. Get a little weird. What is it like on your face? What is it like on your elbow? What is it like on your toe? If you hold it up to your ear and crinkle it together, do you like that? Do you hate that? Is it a yuck? Is it a yum? What's going on? take about 15 more seconds of introduction. And then I'm going to invite you to pause. In 3, in 2, and in 1. Gorgeous. So anything that you want to share that kind of surprised you about this object? Something that you're just learning about it with this minute of exploration?
It became a toy.
It became a toy. Great. Anything else you want to share?
And we're just like used it to wipe it out there and just smell
Yeah.
how we have it. Awesome.
Excellent. So we're, even though we've engaged with it with our nose, maybe we haven't ever taken the time to smell it. Great. Ooh, so there's an additional texture that we are surprised at the top and the bottom. Anyone else have time for one more share? Yeah,
It
please.
kind of tickles when you put it on that part of your hand.
Yeah, it kind of tickles when you put that part of your hand. Thank you for that. Great. So now that we have made all of these discoveries, it tickles, there's a texture, it smells kind of weird, it feels good. Take 3 minutes, don't think too much about this, and create a simple, repeatable game, or a way that you can engage with your tissue that you can do again and again and again. Now this game can have language, it can have sound, it can be completely non-vocal. Just take 3 minutes to create some sort of simple, repeatable game that you can play with a tissue by yourself. Again, I invite you to remain seated. You can move about the space. The game might move you somewhere else in the room. 3 minutes, let the music also inform this game. We'll come back together in just a few. And if anyone needs another one, I'm coming around in the box. Anyone needs another one, I'm coming around. Anyone needs another tissue? I love that I'm seeing people up. I love that I'm seeing people down. I know this is a quick exploration, but take about 1 more minute to hone your very vast tissue game. How can you find pleasure and joy, sensory joy, with this simple object? Great. And let's find a seat or a place to perch. In 3, 2, 1. Amazing.
So hold on to that game. Hold on to that moment that you just created. You might need it in a little while.
You might.
You might.
need it.
But we're going to shift out of warm-up and into a spotlight on the residency that occurred between the two of you not that long ago.
So just to give a little bit of context, as I said before, I work at the Elevator School, which is a pre-K through 8th grade school, and as I'm talking, I'm going to shift this way. So I'm going to invite you to do the same, so I'm going to show you some pictures. And it is one of 7 schools in the building. It is the only pre-K through 8th grade school in the building, but it is one of 7 schools, and one of the other 7 schools that my classroom is actually located within the halls of is a District 75 school. And part of my goal over the last 7 or 8 years that I've been at Elevator and been in the JRET complex has been to create collaborations between the different schools. And my dream was to have my students, specifically in 8th grade ICT class, create something that was sensory, experiential, immersive within our school building for the District 75 school, which is a 6th grade school for kids, specifically in this school for kids on the autism spectrum and with other developmental variations. So prior to Emily and there was another teaching artist that I worked with, Anna, coming in, I did a lot of work with my students just discussing what are the five senses and how can we experience the world through our five senses. And then how do we experience theater and how do we create theater through the lens of our five senses. So this was an ICT, it is an ICT class, they've graduated, but there are students in this class that have autism, that have learning differences, that have processing needs. So a lot of them were already familiar with many of these things as 8th graders. So we talked about the five senses, and then they were each charged with thinking about what their favorite space in the world was, and then accessing that space through the five senses. And then I stole an activity that I learned in one of Paul's classes, and the students were tasked with creating these mini stages on stools, accessing the five senses and creating an experience for their classmates. And so students worked there we go. Students worked using various materials, and honestly it was like materials that I found in closets and that I got from Materials of the Arts, and a lot of it was paper, to create these stages. So we started first accessing through the five senses, describing it to each other, and then creating the visual, auditory, kinesthetic, sensory, smell. I charged them with trying to create, access all five senses. Feel free to move if you cannot see. And so here they are in the creation of those pieces. And so the student, they love their camp that they go to, their summer camp. Or maybe this was their grandparents' cabin or something like that, but this one was then became a catalyst for our production of Midsummer, which you'll see later how this became an entire hallway. I'm gonna just zoom in on his mid on here. So I also invited them to use found materials that made sounds that they connected to. So this student had leaves, had a frog thing that sound, frog sound maker. This student offered cereal for the crunch and also for the taste. They used puppets to place themselves within the piece. These students worked together, and there was leaves crunching and claves making sounds as they're walking through the park. This student sprayed hairspray as she was backstage before performing at the Nutcracker. So you can see that it's all really basic found objects. This one was pretty incredible. So this student came this year from Kyrgyzstan, and there was a picture. Her place was her home from Kyrgyzstan, and so there was a rug that she found a similar picture hanging up on her wall, and so that the visual element is on an iPad actually that she propped up in her bedroom. This person had their favorite place is a bubble tea place and brought boba from their bubble tea place for us to experience sensorially through our taste and through the texture. So then, after we did this, we also explored the story of the Little Red Riding Hood, and each group was then split, or the class was split into 5 different groups, and each group had to explore the story of the Little Red Riding Hood through one of 5 senses. And so students explored the story through, this one was, I think, touch, but I can't remember. And so they brought in a cat that you pet, which was the wolf. This group was smell, and so they sprayed different flowers, and this later came up within our production of Midsummer, where they led the class down the path through Little Red's journey, and each student kind of placed themselves at a different point in Little Red's journey, where take this flower and bring it to Grandma's house, smell the soup and bring it to the wolf, eat this oreja, this cookie, and take it onward. And then this one was the group of, I don't remember what this one was, but they had a giant pot of soup, which was just torn up pieces of construction paper that we then as a class were tasked with throwing on the wolf. This being the wolf. So they had a lot of experiences, some chicken soup that we all had a chance to taste at Grandma's house. So they had experience with trying out the 5 senses through a story. And then Emily and Anna came in. We spoke a little bit more about our audience, a District 75 audience. And Emily, do you want to talk about yucks and yums? Since we're
Yeah,
yucks and
absolutely.
yums?
So we rooted the sensory discussion when Anna and I came in, first with the students themselves, and asked them just to kind of take a self-diagnostic of their own sensory yuck and yums. So what tastes good to you, what tastes terrible to you, what smells good and bad. And we kind of gathered these ingredients and gathered these yuck and yums to set the foundation for Midsummer. So some of those things got pulled in and also served as an organic conversation to be like, oh, well, your yuck is her yum is your yuck. And how can all of these like conflicting needs be met in one space? So we kind of posed that question to the group and spent our rehearsal time kind of brainstorming different access points through the different senses.
And then we started diving into the story of Midsummer. And so part of what I wish we could take you through the whole process, but we just can't. But part of what we'll take you through today is how we devised those individual moments where students were able to, using a non-traditional theater space, using non-traditional devising techniques, create theater that was accessible and experiential for all audiences, but specifically the D75 students that were in our building. And another thing that we're highlighting today is that you don't need a huge budget to create something like this. You can use butcher paper to create a wall. You can use blocks covered by fabric to create a pedestal. You can use, again, butcher paper to create a garden. And then this was the forest that we created that was directly inspired, and I'll show you a video of just walking down that forest as it was visual and also auditory, to create Titania's forest, to create Titania's garden, rather. And it's just plastic flowers and a piece of butcher paper, but the audience was so ready to say, yeah, totally. Yes, and construction paper leaves, magazine leaves that we glued to a paper. And then so this was our audience, and there was a dress-up component, and I'm going to play this video for you because you must see this before the computer dies, and I am hopeful that you will be able to see it before my computer dies. Not that one, and then we'll move on. So we can save that last video. So it's umbrellas with flowers as bushes.
It's like an exhibit.
This is just butcher paper that we crumpled up. The leaves we found at Materials of the Arts. Like, we didn't spend any money on this production. The costumes that we pulled from a basement, like dusty box in the basement, or like post-Halloween, bring in what you've got. So I could talk forever about this project, but we want to give you a chance to experience how we created this piece in real sped up time.
Amazing.
So I'm going to toss it back over to, actually, we're all going to.
Yeah, so in the words of Tina Fey, I want to go to there. Like, that is so cool. We are going to zoom in on, Naomi just talked about keeping things accessible and all different definitions of accessibility from a budgetary perspective as well as from an engagement perspective, an inclusion perspective. Accessible for the content. This was Midsummer Night's Dream that was being devised from as the play. So we're gonna talk about accessible gamification with sensory elements. This is some of the magic that Emily and your partner teaching artist brought into the space. For the purpose of our demonstration, we're going to do this a little bit like a fishbowl, so that, because this is not how they did it in the classroom, but for us to do a demo of what happened, we're going to kind of go in and out of the experience. So you all, as students, created a game for yourself with tissue, right, that explored one sensory. That's where we left you off. Zooming back into that, is there a brave soul in the room that would like to share the thing that they created? Share that repeatable, simple, I noticed your hand first, so
Okay,
great.
I'm not good at it.
You don't have, oh, you are so good at it. You made
I
it,
also
it's
lost
yours.
part of it, but that's okay.
Would you like the new tissue?
That's okay. I'm just gonna create a new game. Check
Okay.
this out. Okay. So I split my tissue in half, like I peeled apart the two parts, and I started to juggle with it. I was learning how to juggle. That was my game. And every time the one of them fell, I lost. But okay. So, there, I lost. That was my game. Thank you.
Remind me, what's your name?
Radha?
Ratha?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. I'm Paul. Come on up if you would.
Oh, okay.
Emily,
Yes.
would you like to be taught this game?
Would you be so kind?
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna grab my own tissue.
Okay.
All right, what is my first step?
So the first step is going to be to try to separate the two pieces, but that might take some.
The two plies.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it, I
You
got,
got it.
Yep.
Easily. Nice. And then you're gonna bunch up each of them in
Mhm.
each hand.
Yep.
And then you're gonna try your best to focus and breathe deep.
Mhm.
You're doing great. This
Thank
is
you.
exactly what I imagined.
Okay, great.
Okay. And now you're going to choose a hand to start with.
Mhm.
Let's say it's your left hand, and
Okay.
you're going to throw that ball up in the air, and as that one goes in the air, you're gonna throw this one over to this hand.
Okay, here we go. Can I get a 1, 2, 3?
1, 2,
3.
That was delightful, thank you so much.
Ratha, if you're willing to
Yes.
stay for just a
Yes.
few more minutes.
Okay.
I think, Emily, did you come up with a game too?
Yes, I would.
Oh.
May I teach you my game?
Please do.
Okay. So to model the solo version, I mouth, ear,
Nose. Okay. Oh, okay. Mouth.
ear.
Oh, okay.
Can I invite you to fold this into a square?
Yes. And then again like this.
Yes. Ear. Eye. Ear. Oh my gosh. Mouth. 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 Ear. And see.
That was
Amazing.
Yes.
Is there a world in which these two games might be able to be combined into a single game? Or, if you don't think that's the path you want to go down, which of these two games do you want to proceed with? So we can either choose one of these games to proceed with, or find a way of combining them.
I think we can combine them.
I really like your game.
You like my game? Okay. Should we just play mine?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. I like it.
Mine gave me too much anxiety. Yours was, you know, I could flow with it, but it was challenging.
Okay, perfect. Is there anything you want to add to my game?
Music.
Music. Fantastic. I like it.
Okay?
Great.
I've got music. What kind of music are we having?
I don't know, something instrumental to just get us going.
Perfect.
So when the music stops, you'll stop to freeze.
Perfect. I love it. Okay. And are we doing a repeatable, how I was doing, like eye, mouth, ear, or is it
Random.
randomized?
Random.
Randomized. Okay. So the only rule is we are randomizing the movement until the music stops, and then we freeze.
And then we
Okay.
freeze, yeah.
Great.
Okay, so then it sounds like your game needs a DJ.
Yes.
Sweet, so I'm gonna ask if there's a DJ here that could be, yeah, that's like right away, great. Perfect.
And if y'all want to try out this game with us, you're more than welcome to try. You can also add another body part if you are so called. All right, here we go.
Are we supposed to be calling out the body parts or just go?
Okay, we're just going for it.
Oh, you're being very committed.
I wonder if anyone would like to call out the body parts for this round. Go for it.
Shoulder. Forehead. Eye. Ear. Hand. Nose. Top of head.
Give us 2 more.
Foot. Shoulder.
Awesome.
And pull it there. Now you got it. All right. So we have now created as a group a game that is all about moving. There's a caller. There's somebody that are responding to those calls. There's a stop and start of the music. We had somebody in the role of the DJ that was operating that. So there's multiple different possibilities for how this game operates, but basically we have a game of freeze that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So in the residency, everybody had created their own game. Everybody taught their game to somebody else. Then in their partners, they either combined or chose one of those games.
This happened over multiple class sessions.
And then from there, once we had kind of those bank of games, we laid character.
Yeah, we layered in specific groups of characters that we pre-decided what space each character would be in so that we would then know what games we had needs for. So we knew that the fairies would be in the forest, that space that I showed you. We knew that the royals would be the main space where audience could always come back to. We knew that the fools, the rude mechanicals were going to be in the stage space. And so we had a specific need for a game for each character and for each space.
And we also tasked them to layer a sense on top of that as well. So lots of ingredients that were built over multiple class periods. But it really started with just that simple tissue that was then spun out into these more elaborate games.
And some of it came from tissue. So some of the games, I'll show you one that literally came from this tissue exploration. And then we also brought in other materials that were sensorily accessible. Like smells, sprays, flowers and leaves that crunched, things that they could access sensorily that then, when we layered in the senses, adding that into the game, most of them already had it.
So do me a favor and let's count off by 6.
1,
2,
3,
4, 5,
6.
1, 2,
Remember your number.
5.
6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
1. Oh, sorry.
So you're good. 1,
2, 3, 4.
4. Great. So let's do our 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s. Get there in 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Now that you're in the 6, be sure to introduce yourself to each other. Love it.
And we are back in 3, 2, and 1. 1 and 2, congratulations, you are fairies. 3 and 4, fools. And the rest of y'all, lovers. All right, first idea, best idea, fairy groups. What are like what are some words that come to your mind when you think of fairies? The archetype. There's no bad idea.
Impishness.
Impish, whimsical, butterfly wings,
Graceful.
graceful. One more.
Magic.
Trickster, fantastic. Fools. What do we got?
silly,
Goofy, jokesters, clowns.
accident prone,
Pause. Paul is writing silly, jokesters, clowns, goofy, clumsy. Love that. And finally, lovers. What do we got?
Love, hate.
Love, hate.
Rebellious.
Rebellious. And we can think of this in terms of midsummer or just the trope itself, the archetype.
All sides.
All size? Do you mean like, great.
Oh, sides.
Oh, romantic.
Romantic. And one more? Like an actionable one, perhaps.
Pursuit.
Pursuit. Fantastic. Okay. Fairies, whimsical, impish, graceful, magic, trickster, fools, silly, goofster, clowns, jokers, clumsy, lovers, love, hate, rebellious, romantic pursuit. Delightful. All right. Naomi, what should they do in these groups?
Okay, so that game that we just learned that Emily and
Rafa's game.
Rafa just taught us, you are now going to layer in fairies, fools, or lovers within this game. So you can change the game a little bit if you'd like, or use it as a base. You can, I'm using this as well, right?
Yeah, great.
Our criteria are here. You should, add a line of dialogue or vocalization. We're going to be coming around with some dialogue for you to use. You do not have to use the whole line. You don't have to use the whole phrase. You can use one word. You can all say it together. You can say it on your own. You can do whatever you like. A line of dialogue or some sort of vocalization. And then a moment of invitation for your audience, for another group to join you, another person to join you. So once again, a line of dialogue or vocalization that we're going to provide for you. Use the game that was just created. Take it, change it, shift it, mold it. Use the exact same game. A moment of invitation for your audience. Paul, Emily, did I miss anything?
Not at all. I just want to go one step further in explaining moments of invitation by modeling.
Great.
It can be as simple as that's it, right? I'm doing the thing or we're doing the thing. Now you're invited to join the thing.
And also, the moment of invitation does not need to be said yes to in order for the game to succeed. So the audience member can always say no. They have complete agency over their participation. So do not bank on a yes in order for your game to be successful.
We have more tissues. You have 5 minutes.
Are there any questions before we start?
And we're coming around with dialogue options. Okay, begin. Fairies.
Fools.
Here are some first lines. If you would like, however you would like to use them. Your lines of dialogue in that day are
And give them a suggestion. So it could be like, I have the tissue and then I have the nose. And you take it, you place it on your nose, and then you go like
childlike.
No, you do your own. Yeah, like this. Yeah, come here.
Lines of dialogue.
Perfect.
That's what it says.
There's a line of dialogue.
Lovers? Sure. Lines of dialogue. Oh, yeah. And also, someone else. Sorry. No problem. Yes.
Oh, they want to share.
Yes. And I wonder if we make it a little more.
I mean, there's several that are.
You could, our rejection and acceptance could be the more I hate and the more I love. Which are both lines in here.
So like, handing could be the more I love, and then taking the more I hate.
Well, it could be like, so offer me
So
a
if you're
tissue.
accepting it, so it's like the more I love.
Well, I was thinking it could be, so you say like no.
Oh, okay. No.
And I could say, the more I love and take it. Or, if I don't want to do it,
No.
the more I hate.
Okay.
Then you could go to someone else.
Okay. So now what happens?
And then you just say, I marry, and you just say this, and also say, I marry, you must, then maybe you change your position. It's like giving you permission. But I'm just trying to think of how.
So you just say it again. If we say, just, that could be the guess. Was it I marry you?
I marry you must.
All right, so it's I marry you.
And I, that's two. That's really clever.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't know.
And I, and then it's...
So does someone want to be like this?
Yeah, oh, that's good.
Does someone want to be like the Simon Says theater person? Do you want to do it since we came up with the idea?
Go for it.
Sure. So I could just say, okay, we have like wings. Are we like embodying? Yeah. We're like, oh, I like that. Like,
lightness.
so like, so I could be like, ready? Yeah.
And I.
And I.
I like that. That's cute. I love it. Be like, I want to like fly into
We need to invite somebody. A moment of invitation. Inviting. I mean,
We have these. Do you want to use these?
a wandering night. Give me a question.
I think we should add.
what if we accented the end of each line that is avarice?
We don't have to use all into
And with their ear,
She said we need to remember to invite someone else.
Oh, into the group. Okay. All right.
And then maybe after 3, instead of Hail Mortal, we can offer our tissues to someone from the audience, and if they take it, they take it. If not, we do it. Like, we're not creating a real thing. Let's make it. Let's simplify it.
It's always the symbol.
I like the flower.
Comes up with pussy. The flower, do you like that?
Then after 3, we
And then, yes, and then if somebody says yes, then we could hand them this and show them that these are the ones.
Hear my voice. Give yourselves a round of applause. Friends. So, zooming out just for a moment, right? We are in our groups. We are adapting this repeatable game into a theatrical moment that might have a line of text that is layered into it somehow. It definitely has a moment of invitation for the audience to either join the game or pass on joining that game. The text may continue on, right? This is a moment. It's not like the beat in the scene of the play as much as it is that beat living and breathing in the play over and over and over again. Since you all have gotten to this point, there's another layer of instruction.
Yeah, so I'm gonna layer in a challenge that you can choose how you want to engage with it. And that challenge is, we invite you now to layer in some sort of sensory moment. It can be something that you have in the space that you can build in: sight, sound, taste, touch, smell. It can be just, hey, if we had access to sound, touch, taste, hear, or smell. Sound, touch, taste. I did this all the time during our residency. Sound, touch, taste, smell.
Sight.
Sight, thank you. This is what we would do in this moment.
Also, I would like to add that there are a couple hidden senses that are very not frequently spoken about, vestibular and proprioception, one of which has to do with like essentially how our guts feel in our body or what the inside of our bodies are telling us. For example, like, oh my gosh, I have to pee, or like, I'm feeling a little buzzy right now, I'm stressed. There's also this idea of balance and how your body is in relation to other people's bodies or objects in the space and how it affects your balance. So it's kind of hard to incorporate like guts, but if balance is something that is exciting to you as well, I offer that as an additional sense for you to explore.
Balance, gut feeling, sight, sound, touch, taste, smell, right? Scent. So with all of those as ingredients that can be brought in, as Naomi mentioned, it can be either bring us through experientially or talk about if we had this resource, thinking about that DIY on a budget, not needing to be super fancy. You don't need the big scent machine that comes in, the Trader Joe's lavender hand sanitizer that sprays, right, is also a beautiful scent and could be a way of getting me to get all those hands to sanitize as they come into the space before they touch all the things. So thinking about your theatrical moment, tightening up all of the different criteria that you've already layered in, and adding a sensorial level to it for another 3 to 4 minutes here.
Yeah, sounds great.
Off we go.
All right, as you were.
You know, I mean, there's a world where like this is done clean.
Yeah, I agree. That could.
And then we could tell the audience to smell it. Like, that's a good idea. So we do the whole piece, and then the last part is spray. Next to spray the or do we start like this? Maybe we start. Oh yeah. We start with the. And then
That motivates the movement.
Yeah, okay. And then we could shake it all over the people, and then we go in our little like. I think. Okay. Yeah. Want to practice? Sure. Okay. So we're gonna be like hands. Okay, ready? And then all over the air, like. Ready? And I.
Little squares of different materials for touch, and you can trade materials. Like when someone accepted, you could like switch your object so that you have a different thing that you're holding if you have needles. Adding layers.
So we have tissue gauges, then we explore tissue, then we
I give you services.
I'm water, I think.
I'm technically spraying water bottle.
That's amazing.
I was wondering, are we turning and we're all spraying?
I think we should all spray at the end, like, right?
When we all do this.
Can I ask, is there a moment in that where an audience member might say, I don't want to?
Oh, yeah.
And then we can, maybe we can grab tissue and ask just like one and then they say,
and we could also you could give a tissue to somebody in the audience. For them, and then I could say, I give you curses, and then they put it on me. We should just grab a box.
Yeah. But it'll probably be like a quick share. I don't know if everyone will.
Yeah, we go to 140, but I think there might be other stuff.
Yeah, I assume we're doing like a debrief of like teacher half.
Or when you
You could play a set, you could play music, and you could have when someone says,
do we have like a conclusion? Do we sort of banish you? Or when someone
in the game.
Or do you have like a...
Take my tissue, I'm out, and you invite someone
What
else.
if you invite somebody else?
It's an offering rather than a season.
Okay.
If someone is willing, maybe you put it on someone's eye, and you, or I don't know.
And then we can go back to flying around. Sorry.
Yeah, one side invite like one
They, and if she says they, that she took that suggestion from the audience, the people that said they. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Let's try it.
Hey,
It's like under our own interpretation, not the audience.
But they take the tissue.
and then maybe they'll do something with the tissue. Maybe they'll do So everyone addresses you as mortal, then everyone addresses me as mortal, then everyone addresses you as mortal. Then when we get them on, we address them as mortal. You are, and then the fifth.
You all do confidence.
Why don't we start mortal, and you can do another.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Start with the whole group, like get the whole audience involved, and then choose whatever answer you hear, and then you can go one by one individually to each person to invite them.
If you can hear my voice, if you can hear my voice, make this sound. And we are back.
Hello back.
Hello.
All right. Folks, do we need a final dress rehearsal before we do any share out? I saw no's. Are there any yeses in the room? I need a final dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
Because we are professionals. Okay. So, with all that said, we want to spotlight and share out a few of these. You can take us through the experience of it, or you can do a half in, half out, share a little bit of the experience, and then talk us through the rest of what it was. These are the moments, the actual moment. You also are allowed to tell us how many audience members you want. It could be the three of us as your audience, it could be the whole room, it could be however many audience members you want. So take a moment with your group right now to decide how many audience members does our group want.
It might also be a one-to-one experience. So think about that as well. We just want to invite one person in.
Like, are we each gonna go? Are we each gonna have a
Yeah.
Okay, so.
We'll do a timer. We'll do a 30-second timer for just to go fast. That way it's not going to end. You know what I mean?
It'll be pretty. Right, so wait, I want to make sure. So we're all gonna play around. I'll ask 1, 2, and 3, and then everyone asks them.
Okay, still working here? Oh, yeah, that's fast. You're right. We don't need some time. We don't need some time. You're fine. I'm so used to pause. We'll time it. About 10 seconds before I get. You good? Yeah? Okay.
Emily, we have a group that's ready to go first. Okay, let's bring our attention back to the center of the room, please. Take that deep breath in, get yourself here in this space. Transitioning from maker to spectator, to audience member, right? You've been in that making mode, now we are engaging with what other people have made. We've got a group that's going first. Do you need your audience in a different spot other than where we are? Okay, let's count them in with 3, 2, 1, curtain. 3, 2, 1, curtain.
Come, fairies. Let us play a game. I am immortal.
Hail, mortal.
Hail, mortal!
I am immortal too.
Hail, mortal! I am immortal! Hail, mortal! You are immortal? You are immortal. You are mortal? Hail, mortal! Hail, mortal! We end.
conclusion. Is there someone else that would like to follow up? All right, how would you like us and how would you like to be?
The audience can be here.
Great,
Yeah.
perfect. All right, would you like to be counted in or would you like to begin on your own?
Count us in.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, curtain.
I give you curses.
Yet I give you love.
I give you curses.
And I give you love.
I give you curses.
Yet I give you love.
I give you curses.
Yet I give you love.
And
Thank you, Mother.
Can I just ask those last two groups just to share, if it wasn't explicit, where your sensory sense piece layered in?
Touch and sound.
yeah, let's say right, touch and sound.
Touch and sound, yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
That was it, right? Is there a next group?
We can go. Perfect.
All right, and then you're up next.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna be here.
You'll be
here. And if anyone who wants to be in the audience can come forward, but know that this is, in theory, a splash zone.
Oh.
So you don't want to be wet. Don't.
So only if you like water.
Only if you like water.
All right.
Splash zone.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Can you give us a 3, 2, 1 curtain?
Absolutely.
3, 2, 1, curtain.
Mary! Our play is the most lamentable comedy and the most cruel death of. Oh, monstrous! Oh, strange! Oh, shit!
Where are these lives? Where are these hearts?
What is this being?
A wandering knight?
Thank you. Your senses, please.
Touch and touch. Touch. Yeah, touch.
Yeah, we would be touched. Yeah.
And sight, maybe, of the watching
Sight,
water.
yes.
And Emily also said smell.
Yeah, I wonder if those could have been like essential oils. Made me smell. Great.
Nice.
Nice.
Have you all considered a career in the theater, people? All right.
All right.
Next group.
He didn't say consider it. He said, have you considered it?
Where would you like your audience? Yeah, stand around.
Yeah.
Perfect. Would you like to be counted in, or would you like to begin on your own?
You can count us in.
All right, here we go then.
Yeah.
3,
2, 1, curtain.
Ready!
And I.
And I.
And I.
Oh.
And I.
Oh, the stakes got so high.
I know. I was like,
So high, and then there's such a release. Thank you for that. Your senses, please.
Smell.
We had a lavender hand sanitizer.
Perfect. Amazing.
Awesome. Anyone else?
we have one.
Perfect.
Here we go. Okay. So.
And how can we help
Everybody will be in this one.
you? Everybody.
Yes, everyone.
Fantastic.
Okay.
We rub our lines.
Would you like to be counted in or begin on your own?
We'll take a 3, yeah, the top one. A 3, 2, 1 curtain.
Fantastic.
All right. Ready?
3, 2,
1, curtain.
Must I speak now?
Nay!
Must I speak now?
Yay!
Huh.
Must I, oh,
Must I speak now?
nay.
Must I speak now?
Nay.
Must I speak now?
Yay.
Must I speak now?
Yay.
Must I speak now?
Yay.
Must I speak now?
Yay!
Must I speak now?
Nay.
Must I speak now? Yay.
Must I speak now?
Yay!
Which senses did we have playing there?
Touch, hearing, sight, balance.
Yes.
The balance, I call that one for sure. Love, love. Gorgeous. Okay, celebrate that work that you all created in such a short amount of time, please. And know that, wait, there's one more group?
We can go, it's fast.
Everyone is good where they are, but when there's an offer, if it gets accepted, if everyone could go, aww, and when it gets rejected, if everyone could.
Everyone could go. Everyone could go. What's up?
Can we practice those?
Oh yeah. So
Accepted.
Rejected. Beautiful.
Yeah, very good. Excellent.
Would you like a 3, 2, 1, or are you beginning organically?
Give us a 3, 2, 1.
Okay, great.
3, 2, 1.
Person.
Nose.
I love thee.
Aww.
Shoulder.
The more I hate.
Shoulder.
The more I love. Head.
The more I love. Eye. The more I love. Nose. Nose.
The more I love.
We'll pause there.
Are there any other groups left to go? What were these sentences that we were playing with?
Our cute little hinkies will smell like flowers.
Oh.
Accepted. And sound.
Yeah. Love.
Everyone find a cozy spot.
All right.
Wanted to brief that.
Good working with you.
Yes, right here.
You're welcome to keep your tissue, but
If you're done with your tissue, you're also welcome to throw it out.
and as we're
Do you guys want the copies of?
No, you can keep those or toss them.
don't need them. What are some things that jumped out to you that were exciting or memorable or interesting or something that you have questions about or that as you saw it, you're like, I would try that for this one, but in this way.
Well, the one thing that stuck out for me was the awes. I mean, we had a lot of participatory moments, but that was one that each one built and felt really fun.
Can you say more about that? What do you think?
Just fun to participate and it's a wonderful sharing emotion, to say that something's adorable or sweet or awe-worthy.
So
And,
something that was easily accessible, but that we were also all able to do. Accessible not only in just that it was simple, but also in that everyone had a chance.
But also, I feel like the feeling enacted also was engendered.
Your steps were so simple and easy to follow, and then you layered in the last piece afterwards.
So as a teacher, I just appreciated that because then you didn't overload us at first. And you let us explore, and then we got to go back in with this extra added element. So fun.
And I'll add on that teacher hat that with ours, moment of invitation was one of the last things we layered in. So these were different classes, make the game, use the dialogue, moment of invitation, sensory, each was a different class.
We had 2 at first then.
We started just with the game.
Oh, right.
And then we gave them a line of dialogue to layer into a game. And then we had them create a moment of invitation. And then layered an invitation. So we did it sped up with you all, but it would be even more scaffolded with students. Yeah.
I'm curious. Sorry. What grade level did you do this mostly with?
The students that created were 8th graders. The students that experienced it were 6th graders.
Oh, okay. Very cool. I think I saw a hand over here and then a hand over there.
I like that the games came from the games at the beginning, and then you offered the option of combining it. I was curious though, when you had them first share out their games, were there like many to choose from, and then did you all choose one to use for each group?
Would you want to talk a little about that, because that was within the script creation? So the students created games within groups. And then when we were putting the script together, and our script was mostly nonverbal or very simplistic within the verbal piece because of the audience that we were working with and for, the games were created around, the script was created around the games. So we chose the game specifically for the fairies that they had created for the fairies. And then we built the script around that game. The Rude Mechanicals game was built around, or the scene was built around the Rude Mechanicals game. Does that answer your question? You had chosen something.
Yes, and then yes.
My question was, how long was this residency?
One more time, question?
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
How long was it?
The residency?
Yeah.
I think it was a 15-week residency, but that last chunk was rehearsal and one of the sessions was like tech and like coming on, and I just came to the school without the students there and like helped her set up the hallway.
Yeah.
So it was 15 sessions with the New Victory, inclusive of the performance.
And then I did all of that prep work before, so it was about 4 months of prep work of creating a language-based and sensory experiences, creating, they have been my students, many of them, since they were in like 1st grade, so they had knowledge of experiential immersive theater already, but grounding our work in that before even starting work with Emily and Anna.
And I believe you saw your students twice a week,
Correct.
and we were coming one of those 2 times.
Yeah.
Did you say this is District 75 environment?
So my students are in ICT classroom, and they were performing for a District 75 school.
Okay.
Yep.
That shared building.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Obviously, in terms of sensory theatre, that moment of invitation is crucial because of that sensory connection.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that 8th grade, 6th grade, after they'd performed it or done it, did the 8th graders have a reflection on how it had gone? They'd gone, oh, the responses were completely different than we anticipated. What was that kind of...
So we did, and actually it was pretty remarkable in that they also had the opportunity to perform for some of the students in our school that were not in District 75 audiences, and the experiences were very different. And the audiences that came in from my school, we prepped them with the knowledge that this piece is not created with them in mind specifically, but that they should engage with it in however they feel and see fit. So the afterward debrief was really, really powerful. But I'd say we stopped and debriefed throughout the process.
Yeah.
And if we were to do this again, and part of what we had kind of hoped for in the residency that just didn't happen scheduling wise, was to invite the District 75 students in throughout the process to engage with the process, which we didn't get a chance to do, and I wish we had.
And vice versa, there was a dream, but scheduling didn't allow that. Anna and myself, or Naomi, some combination of the 3 of us would push into the classroom to do some sort of pre-visit experience to get them prepped for the show. There was also like a dream of creating a social narrative. There were many dreams that hopefully will actualize in future years. But yes. Yeah.
As the audience walked through the environment, did the show, the story happen to them? Or were their lines said? I'm just thinking how I could do this.
Yeah. So the stories were all happening simultaneously, and we had 3 loops that happened concurrently. There was a main space that was kind of an egress space in case anything got overwhelming. The students were always invited back to
The Royals.
the Royals' space too, and there were sensory materials that they could engage with in this like kind of chill zone. There was the Royal Fairies space where they engaged with materials creating Titania's garden, which you saw up there, and the flowers were scented, and creating the flower garden for Titania. There was the Rude Mechanicals, their rehearsal the students went into that was very similar to this final game, where my kids came up with a awe and a boo, hooray and a boo for the actors, and the actors would do it again. And there was fairy guides that led them through the space. And then the hallway was was the lovers' space, and the scene happened all along the hallway, and then around the main tree, which you'll see an example of how one of the games transitioned into the space in just a moment. So yeah, each scene happened 3 times back to back.
All right, time is running towards the end, so as you prep that final share, I'm gonna just share with you some of the resources that are gonna be available to you. So this comes, in this particular instance, it was a New Victory residency that was the impetus, but Emily is a freelance theater artist and maker. One of our connections is through a company called Trusty Sidekick Theater Company, professional theater for young people. And so Trusty Sidekick had the opportunity of creating a piece called Up and Away at Lincoln Center, at this point almost, oh God, it was 10 years ago, that we were working on it. Tim Webb of Oily Cart in the UK is really the pioneer grandfather of sensory theater ideologies and methods. And he has a new book out that's really, really helpful. It's a handbook on all of the senses. Trusty Sidekick was fortunate enough to have our piece featured in here as one of the case studies, but he's compiled case studies from around the whole world of sensory theater practices. So as you are looking to explore bringing this into your classroom, this could be a great resource that you use. And then if you want just the sort of starter kit, the 8 ingredients of performance for neurodivergent audiences that Trusty Sidekick came to create is available for you for takeaway. This is a QR code to the Google Doc version of this paper. I'll put this on loop so you can sort of see Up and Away. Trusty Sidekick is in the process of sunsetting as an organization. We're done. We've done it, we're done. And so one of the things that we're looking to give to the field at the end of our time making this type of work is a handbook, a how-to. Emily is in the process of authoring this handbook that will be specifically for teachers to enact, and we will make sure that Peter disseminates this throughout. If you want a copy of this emailed to you directly, pop your email address on the board before you leave this space, and you will get an email with it once it's done. But it's not done yet. So in the meantime, we've got the 8 ingredients. I've got the book available for you to look at. We've got an example of that, plus our website is live still and will be for at least the next year of all the things. Take our photos down as inspiration, take them and use them in your spaces as examples of this type of work to inform the amazing work you're doing with and by your kids and by those kids, right? You all made those games into such incredible theatrical moments. We did that in 45 minutes. That might be 3 weeks of classes with your skill level of student, but you can get there. Because then it looks like this in practice.
I do also just want to call to, we studied, so my students and I looked at Up and Away. We took a look at a bunch of Oily Cart's work. We took a look at polyglot theater, and a lot of the work that's created by these folks in these theater companies inspired their work directly. So what you're about to see is one of the games that was created that then was layered into the lovers' space. And just before this game, the lovers have fallen asleep at the tree. casting the spell on the lovers with their scarves. And that was that snippet of a moment. And so that's exactly what you all did here in real time with our intended audience. I think that's it.
Thank you for the time.
That's it.